Hey guys, it's Michael Mechanical here, and I know I don't do much mechanical stuff, and I won't be able to until the 10th of the 3rd, 2022, which is my vaccination schedule for when I'm fully vaccinated against tetanus, in which case the doctors will tell me, yeah, you can do anything you want with metal, soil, or whatever. So that's one of the key dates when we might be able to turn things around for what we do with cars and stuff, but until then, we can't do much other than maybe come up with ideas and work on trying to go forward in different ways. And I was just trying to find my calendar. My brain's trying to process multiple things at the same time. And what I wanted to show you is that date actually is in my calendars for that. But technology. Okay, technology isn't straightforward. There's two calendars on this phone, because Samsung has their own inbuilt version, but then when you say something to Google, set a date, blah blah blah, it puts it in a Google Calendar, and Google Calendars isn't actually straightforward on my phone like it should be. It's not with all the other Google apps, and I'm looking, but there's no Google Calendars. I sometimes hate technology. Google Calendars is installed on this phone, but Google Calendars does not show up, which is... Life can be frustrating, is pretty much the best way to put it. There's not really much I can do about these discrepancies in the technology, but I know Google has installed calendars on this phone, and I will find it really smart and fast by looking up calendar, and I know Google Calendar's on the phone because it's not on the phone, which is stupid. Okay, well, fine. If it is on the phone, I'll try to find it on that date. So it's frustrating. So January, February, March 10. Okay, well, it's on this calendar then. But it says tetanus immunization complete. That is the date in which I'm defining to you guys is the date that I could do things with cars again, and that's if I'm well enough to do it, which I'm likely going to be very well enough to do the stuff. Otherwise, in the meantime, don't touch soil, don't touch metal, and don't risk hurting yourself. I got to take precautions to avoid getting injured and do things safer than I've ever been. They say avoid that stuff altogether, because tetanus is something that is not ideal, and it's something I don't have protection against at the moment. Once I'm fully vaccinated and protected, then I can go back and do metal work on metal again. But until then, this channel cannot really progress other than if we were to talk about things like ideas for what we could do. And I thought I had, because I haven't really seen it before. People build dune buggies all the time, right? That's one thing people build. But I've never actually seen someone build a fully custom vehicle. People normally go out and buy something that already exists, does it up, and then that's how they pretty much make their own custom cars. I've never seen someone actually do that from start to finish. I see people restore things, but I never see someone start a project with just metal, blanks, nothing pretty much, and then build a vehicle out of it. I've never really seen that. I don't know how many people would have, but that could be really cool, because it'd be a defining feature for this channel, being very different from other channels, being able to be creative and custom make stuff. And if we can do something like that, like build a custom vehicle, that would be really cool. Now, there are a lot of factors that are going to affect whether it's viable or not, and design decisions that are going to make it viable or not viable. You have to consider what all this would cost to do, and this is not a simple I can do it project. It's not a DIY sort of thing. This is something that can cost a lot of money to do. So the way I want to see it is, how can we do this the cheapest way possible, or at least make a start to it? And I think one thing we could do for a start is maybe come up with a design. And I did have a design from a while ago, and I might redo it a little bit, because I'm just thinking about how culturally we're changing. Our shapes of our nations are changing in such a way that we are now going from bigger and bigger vehicles to smaller and smaller vehicles. True, they are selling humongous vehicles where I live, but it's like, are you even aware of where you can even drive one of those things? It's more for out in the country more than in the suburban area. Houses are getting built smaller. Properties are getting made smaller. Everything's going smaller. So where's the practicality in a big vehicle like a Dodge Ram pickup truck or a Ford? What is those Fords? I know there's the Chevys, and there's all sorts of other vehicles. I just don't remember all the vehicles, but I've seen some in person, and they put my car to shame, my Ute. But what I'm thinking is this other property that we're going to be moving to. My Ute does work around there very well. However, that property just feels too small for it. It just doesn't feel the same. And when I drive my Ute into town, that also isn't very great, because when I go into town and I try to park my car somewhere, it's much harder to get it in and out. Worse still is the ZL Fairlane that we have. That is a car that I go into town, and if I make one little mistake, it's classic, it's going to get damaged. But at the same time, it is so big that the risk is increased exponentially. So I'm looking at my dad's car, looking at my mum's car, looking at my car, looking at all these cars, and I'm thinking, for a project, it's possible we could design our own sort of Mighty Max, I think they're called. I don't know if it's a Mighty Max. It's a Ute that I remember that has a two-door cabin, like my Ute, but then it has a little Ute tray that's about 1.5 meters, maybe 1 meter. It could even be smaller than that. It's ideally going to take a skid, which is half a pallet essentially, so it's about 600 deep. That it can take. I think it's a Mighty Max, isn't it? Mighty Max? Mighty Max? I think it's Mighty Max. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Mighty Max car. Yeah, it's something like that. Except, unfortunately, it looks more like my Ute. So, no, I think I've picked the wrong name. I don't know the name of it, but it's like a small Ute. I've seen the Suzuki ones. The closest thing I can think of is an LJ, I think. 88, 89. I'll have a look and see while we're here. And I have a trick up my sleeve, because I was getting annoyed for making this video. I used a rubber glove to stop the camera from sliding over, and I'm using the pencil holder to do things. Now, ideally, my work area right now is terrible, but I'm expecting it to improve once I've fully built my desk and everything comes to shape. Currently my desk looks like this, with all this clutter on it, but it won't be like that forever, because my desk is going to look like this. This is the current part that we have of the desk. Then we're going to have a 350 deep shelf here, and then a 450 at the top. And the way that I know this is correct is, you can see there's a bit missing from the shelf here, and then this one's complete. I've already got all the pieces cut out pretty much for this. There's only two pieces that aren't fully cut out, and that's these back pieces here, 1 and 2. They're not completely cut out, and they're going to go on the inside of the shelves to help give it a bit of support so the shelves don't flex like crazy. And there's the leg that's right here. We've got that as well. What we don't have for this so-called desk is the support structure. It's going to be like something like this. Now, I've got bits for it, but I don't have no brackets like that. Nothing special like that at all. Gotta think. That was right. I kept saying LJ. I don't even know if I'm getting my stuff right. I don't even know if it is a Suzuki LJ, yeah. LJ Suzuki, yeah, comes up. Makes me wonder. There's some stuff coming up. LJ50. It's not quite the same, but I mean, my pop had one of these, and it's a small Suzuki, right? The front end looks the same. The difference with my pops is, yes, he had doors like this, but he had a ute tray in the back of one of these. So his was a little bit different to this. Just a little bit. He does have one, or he did have one like this similarly, where he lived, because it was a wreck. And he used a little vehicle for getting around and shopping and stuff. But you can see it's got that practicality of being a sort of a ute in the bed there. Not quite fully, but yeah. And it was a 3-cylinder. Now what we're looking for is the ute to give you some impression of, hey, a small ute. And that's Daihatsu Toyota. It's not easy to find those things anymore because they're very old, and my pops is... Oh, I mean, that's the easiest way I'm going to find one. Here we... Whoa, stop. LJ50 Stockman. So there you go. Sort of a four-wheel drive ute like this. Look at that suspension on that thing. Man, someone's upgraded that. And it has the ute tray on the back, so you can put stuff in the back. A little bit different, those pictures. This looks like someone trying to buy one. LJ80, LJ81. Yeah, and they were four-wheel drives. I don't know if it's really necessary for us to go full drive, but it is a consideration to at least go with something, if we were to go down this avenue, that could at least drive if we wanted to. Something that could be safe, something that could drive. I wonder why my eyes are looking so red. It's strange. But yeah, if we could design something and build like a, let's just pretend it's a hot rod, but it's not really a hot rod. Let's call it like semi-hot rod, like a, I don't even know what they're called, but we could consider doing that for a project and build a cabin that's safe, but then have that utility side of things where you could actually just carry things in the back. Try to make this thing as good of a profile as possible that stays sort of low to the road, but it has a little bit of capability to carry weight. Not much, but at least something. And also it has the capability to maybe load some stuff up on the roof. And, you know, not to take it too seriously, because we want it to look good, but we want to have some practicality to it as well. And if we can have that sort of flexibility, that might be actually cool. If we can build all these fancy sort of features into a hot rod, and then it's like, well, 1 minute it's a hot rod, the next minute it's a work vehicle. Now, how does that even work? I mean, that would be pretty interesting, and see what we could do. It's about looking for innovative ways to build a vehicle and come up with new ideas. And it's very, very possible for us to do something like that. LJ81. Look, there you go. LJ81. And no, they only want $2,000 for it. I think they only got like a couple $100 for what we had. But yeah, I hate this when you click on the image wrong. It's not my fault. But look, it's a short wheelbase, but it has a practical tray on it. It has a small engine, and this is something that's actually maneuverable around a property, like a smaller property, because it's got a shorter wheelbase. It does feel like it's about as long as mine, but it's not, because mine's actually longer than this, because I have a 4-cylinder diesel engine, plus I have the rear bar, which is pretty big, and I have plenty of space for the radiator and all of that stuff. This is only a small engine that's in here. I don't know if we can make the profile of this sort of idea sort of smaller, or at least maintain the same size as sort of this sort of LJ80 shape. Like, this could be a good base to look at for building something, and if it has a good turning circle and that stuff, that'd be really, really good. Look at how filthy that looks on the inside. But if we could do it, should we do it? Should we consider it? Hey, He looks like he put a new tray on it too. At some point. Yeah, he's done something to it. That doesn't matter. And then there was the LJ80 and then the 50, which is interesting. All these numbers and things people have. Look, and Adelaide, there's one that's in, looks like good condition for 3,300. I wonder how real that is. And then there's an LJ80 parts for $400. They have Broken Hill, New South Wales.